All right. Hello and welcome to the PMC podcast. At PMC Lounge, our mission is to help project managers with two things: get certified and stay ahead. The PMC podcast is part of the Stay Ahead vertical. That's where we feature real conversations with thought leaders from the project management industry and practitioners who are actually shaping the future of project management. And today I'm happy to mention that we are joined by Aaron Porter, who is an accomplished IT leader and an outcomes coach. That's an interesting term. With over 20 years of experience, and he's led strategic initiatives across domestic and international projects. Aaron has this unique knack for bridging the gap between technical solutions and business objectives, something that I must say is a must have for project managers today. And he ensures teams don't just deliver projects, but they deliver measurable value. Again, something that I feel aligns perfectly with what project managers are expected to do in this day and age. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Aaron. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, so now, Aaron, recently you wrote a fantastic article titled "Which Certification Should You Get Next?" And as I mentioned, we keep, speaking with people who are into certifications, and obviously the second vertical of staying ahead of the curve. So a lot of our audience are already PMP certified and they are also looking for their next certification, or they may be holding some other certification and they have this same question: which certification should they get next? So let's start right there. What really inspired you to write this article? Was there any specific conversation or maybe a trend that you might be observing?
It's a combination of my years of, I've done my own chasing of certifications and also chosen not to get some and learned from the process. And then some other research that I'm doing for some other projects that I'm working on.
All right. Now, you have described that certification chase as a trap that can, sort of distract from long term goals. What kind of trap are we really talking about here?
So I see two different kinds of traps, but the first one can make a person more susceptible to the second.
Mhm.
Think of the first trap as a positive feedback loop with potential negative consequences. You're pursuing certifications for the sake of certification that can produce a dopamine effect with each new certification. So you feel
Okay.
like you've done something, you've accomplished something, and you
Mhm.
want to do it again. And this is
Mhm.
a self-reinforcing cycle.
Mhm.
I've stopped counting the number of times I've heard or read someone ask, which certification should I get next? What
Right.
they're
Right.
really asking is which certification will add the most value. But it's a
Mm.
bad assumption because not every certification adds value. And often
Mm.
what you
Mm.
need, what adds the most value for you next is going to be experience or a relevant skill that takes time to develop.
Right. Perfect.
Now, if
Perfect.
you think of the second trap as a kind of a business model, there's all kinds of training providers out there, each with their own program promoting their
Mhm.
certificate that they offer as a value driver.
Right.
Now, there
Right.
can be value, true value in the training and sometimes in the certificate, but it seems like they're using a certificate that no employer is asking for to charge more for the training.
Right. Right.
Not every program or certificate is like this, I know. And there are some very good ones out there, but our resources are valuable and it's something that we need to watch out for.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that answer. Thank you so much for that, Aaron. I think it clearly sets the tone for this podcast. Now, you've also list some really honest reasons that people go for certification, and I think you've mentioned them here as well. From career advancement to just the dopamine hits that you talk about. But then, which motivation do you think is most common based on your conversation with people?
So I tend to think people are generally trying to do their best. I think
Mhm.
that the justifications that most people use are professional credibility and career advancement.
Mhm.
But there can be a dark side to this. The desire for professional credibility and career advancement can turn into the desire to impress others.
Right.
Skill development can turn into resume padding. When you're frustrated with your job search because you're not getting interviews or not getting past the first interview, it's easy to convince yourself that you just need one more certification to be better than the
Absolutely.
competition.
Absolutely. Love that. Now, one other thing that you have called out is productive procrastination. And I just love that phrase. Can you share what that looks like in real life, maybe?
So let's say you're between jobs and, or you could be working either way, but you need something to do that feels like you're accomplishing something. You go after a certification because you believe certifications are going to help you, but you
Mhm.
really should be doing something else. And
Mm,
so that pursuing that certification just creates a delay. It just keeps you from doing something that's more important.
that's more important. Okay. All right. Got it. Now, before someone jumps into a new certification, you suggest researching what's actually valued in the market, something that reflects in the answer that you just given as well. What's the one thing professionals often miss when they are doing this research?
So this is going to vary, in my opinion, by the level of
Hmm.
experience and maturity in profession.
Hmm.
So you have a younger project manager in the earlier stages of their career. They're not qualified to take the PMP exam yet. So they just want an edge.
Hmm.
And they're trying to find whatever they can get to get that edge. And they're not sure what that is. So they go after a certification. And when you get to more experienced project managers, one thing that they overlook, and I've overlooked myself, is researching the people that are in the position that they want to be in and when to
Hmm.
do this.
Hmm. Hmm. Love
So,
that.
so let's say you want to advance in a certain
Hmm.
direction. You use your network to identify people in that position and find out what certifications they have. Maybe get an informational interview with them, ask them about their credentials, and which were the most helpful in getting where they are today.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
if you wait until you need a job to do this, it's not too late, but it's too late for your immediate need. It's still worth doing, but you've created unnecessary delay.
Love that. Love that answer. Now, you've also warned against hype. How can someone tell the difference between, let's say, just a trendy certification and one that's truly valuable?
That can be challenging because
Mm,
it's easy to fall for the hype cycle. I mean, AI has a hype cycle. Cybersecurity is a little bit of a hype cycle.
yeah.
Scrum, Agile, you can see that hype cycle over years. But some of these have certifications that are valuable. And then there's other things, and off the top of my head, I apologize, I'm blanking on one, but a good example. But looking at the industry, what's happening in the industry? What are employers looking for? What are thought leaders pursuing?
Pursuing. Okay. Now, there's also this idea of a gatekeeper versus a differentiator certification. Now, how can that distinction help people prioritize?
So the gatekeeper is the thing you need to get an interview. The best example for a project manager is the PMP.
Mm,
It's been around for
right.
years. The majority
Mm,
of project manager job descriptions that I've seen in the US still require it. Even though project managers that work at those companies will tell you their processors don't always follow the PMBOK guide, and their
right.
performance is not evaluated based on their ability to follow it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just the company needs a
It's
standard to look at and say someone that looks close to this.
right, right. Excellent. Now, one of my actually favorite lines from your article is that the answer may be none, and that's okay. It means you don't have to go for any certification, and that's okay. When do you think is none actually the smartest move?
When you have more acronyms after your name than letters in your name.
Love that. Love that. That's a simple math. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit
So
of alphabet soup doesn't really, doesn't help that much.
right, right. Love that. Now, let's say if someone decides not to pursue a certification right now, for example, how can they still show career growth and value to employers? Because we tend to think that, the number of certifications next to our name shows career growth and it shows value to employers, right? So if we say no to certifications, for example, right now, because I may not need to have another certification, right? How can I still show, career growth or more value that I can bring to the table?
It's a great question. There's a couple ways to do that. One would be before you even get to your resume, is
Mhm.
make sure that your presence, your online presence, I mean, you don't need a huge online presence, but you need to make sure that it's professional. Where your employers are going to see you, make sure they can see that you're contributing, or at least not making your situation harder for yourself.
Right. Right.
On your resume, you can demonstrate career growth and value to employers by leading your experience with brief value adding stories and
Mhm.
limiting the day to day activities that don't relate directly to the position.
Mhm.
One way I like to put it is that your resume is not about you. Hiring managers want to read about they don't want to read about how you spend your days. They
Mhm.
want to know how you can help them solve their problems and why they should
Mhm.
trust you to help them. Now,
Right.
this trust and growth are validated through action and meaningful impact. A potential is more likely to trust you if you can demonstrate growth and how your prior employers trusted you to deliver value, first in your resume and
Mhm.
then later in the interview process.
Got it. Got it. So, good online social media presence, maybe a good resume that highlights value, and then something that you follow through in your interview is something that you can focus on instead of, just keeping to add more certifications next to your name. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So you mentioned a good math if the number of letters in your name is less than the certifications that you have. But let's say for someone who is confused about what to do next, right? Is there any one or maybe a few questions that they should ask themselves to get some clarity in specifically in this area of whether should I go for certifications or whether should I just work on my skills, whether should I work on displaying that I will bring more value? Any questions that someone should ask themselves?
Yeah, there's several, and I'm going to split this up into short-term and long-term clarity. So for
Love that.
short-term clarity, what do I need to do right now? It's
Mhm.
what am I qualified to do? What do I want to do next? What do I need to be qualified for what's next? Is there education or certification or training or something? And then who do I know that can tell me more? And again, that's
Mhm.
leveraging your network so that you
Mhm.
can find out not just from your own head, but from other people who've been there, who are there, how
Mhm.
to get that short-term clarity. Long-term, similar questions, but a little broader expanse. So what do I want to be different about my life in the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow.
What do I need to know to get there? What do I need to do to get there? Who will I
Mhm.
need help from? Who can I count on for support and to keep me accountable to my vision?
Right. Right.
And with this longer term, it's important to realize that today's vision and tomorrow's reality, they're probably not going to match, and that's okay.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
like in project management, your direction can and sometimes should change as you learn new things.
Mhm. Love that. Love that answer. And this is precisely the reason why we have people like Aaron join us and help us guide through. I have one last question though for you, Aaron. Looking ahead, do you think certifications will matter more or less, or they will be where they are today in the next few years? Specifically, since AI is reshaping the work that we do.
So for the next few years, I don't think there's going to be much change.
Mm,
There, some of the current certifications, the new ones, I guess, you've got
mm,
emerging certifications. Some will weed themselves out and be less important. Some will become more important. But as long as you have employers that need a way to validate that this person is someone worth talking to interview, to see if I should hire them, there's going to be some need for certifications.
Awesome. Awesome. Love that. So, thank you so much, Aaron. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for taking the time to join us today and share such insightful nuggets that I'm sure the PMC Lounge community will absolutely learn from.
Great. Thank you very much.